Yes, that's joebiline here, and today I wanted to talk about a few things that happen in FIFA Mobile at the moment, which a lot of people don't really understand and think it's the game cheating them out. Now, there are some cases of glitches where the scores are reported incorrectly, but there's particular cases, and you can tell when they are, like the top score at the top is the correct score in the most situations. The bottom bit, the readings below, the breakdowns, can be incorrect, and we'll go over why that happens. Now, just to clear a few things up, first of all, as we all know, versus attack mode, the scores you see are slightly delayed due to server sync. You're not actually, to avoid lag, you're not connected to the same network. Like on most online mobile games, when you're playing somebody else, your two's connections are directly shared. So if somebody disconnects, the other person will disconnect from that game, and it will cause the game to quit out in the DC. Now, apparently, I haven't played previous FIFA mobile games, but the previous FIFA mobile games, apparently they were played with connection and lag issues, and it was hard to, most games you'd go into, if you could get into one, it'd be quite laggy. And even on console, you see you get laggy connect games when you play against somebody whose connection isn't that great. Now, so that's why they did attack mode to start with. They just did that so you was never playing at the same time. Then they wanted to bring in the head-to-head aspect where you do play each other at the same time, but they didn't want to get this connection issue played where people's connection was being affected by others. So they brought in the versus attack mode, and essentially there's the central server. You both connect to the same central server, but your connection is between you and FIFA, and your opponent's connection is between them and FIFA. So your two's connections are not independent to each other. So if someone did quit out, you'd still be playing. You'd find out at the end of the game that they didn't play because they wouldn't have scored or they wouldn't have done anything. And then you move on. You took your win, you took your loss, you took your draw, whatever. So what this means is that at the moment they are trying to get it so it's on point at the top, but it does mean that basically you're playing, and as you're playing, your score then gets sent over to FIFA, and then FIFA will send that score back to them to let them know. So at the moment there is like a 10-15 second delay in the scoring you see at the top. So when you see them score, they've actually scored about 10-15 seconds ago. So what I like to think of it as, if you see that they've scored on about, it takes about 10 seconds to come across. So if you see they score, say it takes them 10 seconds from kickoff to score, you're not going to see it until there's about 1 minute 10 left, 1 minute 15, depending on how quick they were and what the connection between you both have, because the better your connections, the quicker the score is going to come to you. So if you're playing someone with poor connection, or you've got poor connection yourself, you're going to see it later because it's going to take longer for it to come back to you or not. So that's why when you're playing, you finish the game, they will then score after, and it makes it appear like they've scored after you. They haven't. They've scored in the final 10-15 seconds of that game, but you don't find out until you've already played yours. They're not getting longer than you. You're both getting the same. There were some issues before where people did get longer, you're finished earlier, but they've pretty much been resolved now, and I haven't seen anyone with that issue for a long time. They're not scoring after you. They're scoring at the same time. You're just not finding out till after. And it's as simple as that. You've both had 1 minute 30. You've both scored your goals in 1 minute 30. If you score right at the end of the game, they're not going to find out that you've scored that until after. So you're in the same boat. It's very frustrating, and EA are trying to do it, make it work, so you will find out the goals as they happen. But at the moment, the server sync issue means that you will get it a little bit afterwards. Now, what this boils down to then is if it's taking too long, or if there's been a disconnect during the game, or they've disconnected out and they've left and they've gone quicker than you, it does then sometimes mean if it's taking too long, EA just won't download the full breakdowns. They'll download part of them, and then the breakdowns at the end they'll just publish without, or maybe it's not ready. So that's why you'll see it where down below it says they scored 2 great chances, 2 good chances, no basic, but then there's 5 goals, even though it only says 4 at the bottom. That's literally where they scored right at the end, and rather than make you wait longer for that data to download. They just show you what they've got, and it's there designed or just to make sure that you get the smoothest streamlined game possible without having to wait too long. There are situations where the data's loading and you're there waiting a while, which can come from them disconnecting, it can come from your poor connection, it can come from their poor connection not bringing the data over, but more often than not it's just there so you get the data, you get the scoreline, and you move on as quick as possible. And they're just doing it there to make sure it is smooth and quick for you guys, rather than make you wait ages. The score at the top is the correct one. Now, there are some situations where the score says incorrect, like you've just won and then all of a sudden it's saying you haven't won, and that's another issue with the server connection. That's where you've scored right at the end but you scored right at the end, but the connection wasn't that strong, so the game couldn't, the server couldn't find out that you'd scored. It had scored, but it didn't send over in time for it to then count, and that is an issue, a bug that they are trying to fix. And I understand they thought they'd fixed it for 6.2.1. Now 6.2.1 is another matter. 6.2.1 isn't out on Apple yet. It was going to be out last Monday. However, because of the unintended bugs that came out of 6.2.1 that weren't supposed to be there, and they knew they could fix quickly, Apple were going to prove it on the Monday, like a few days after Android, but EA just said no, we can fix these quickly. So they've delayed the app themselves on Apple. So rather than put that app out, because it had already been like about 5 days, they thought, okay, we're just gonna delay it on Apple, and we'll get the 6.2.2 out as soon as possible. So yeah, that's why 6.2.1 hasn't happened on Apple yet. So Android on 6.2.1, Apple is still on 6.2.0. Now, this does mean, though, that if you're playing against somebody who's on 6.2.1 and you're on 6.2.0, or the other way around, it does sometimes mean that weird things happen. So obviously, great chances are all supposed to be at the start of the game towards it now. When you're playing somebody, that's not fully going to be working yet, because you can have people on different versions and freaky things can happen. So hopefully this 6.2.2 can come out as soon as possible. But I just wanted to clear up, lads, this video, the score at the top is the one that matters. Now, there are a few issues where the score at the top's incorrect, and you know that because you scored a different amount to what it says. But more often than not, ignore the bottom part. The bottom part's good for recon. If you go check the play-by-play stats, you will see what it shows them as, and it will list all the goals there. But the part at the bottom, if the server's taken a bit too long to receive the data, it just won't. If the goal is scored right at the end of the game in the last 10-15 seconds, you will find them out afterwards, and they may not be included below. It's just there for your server syncing issues. They are trying to get it so it's all smooth and concurrent, and you do find out straight away. But for now, it's just worth noting, play your heart out for the full game. Don't think you've won the game because they could score dead let on, and you won't find out till later. So just try your hardest, score as many as you can. Ignore the bottom part for the most part, because it can be incorrect. If they score right at the end, it's not likely going to be in that bottom bit. So just keep playing, do what you can do. Remember, when you see these issues, it's just all graphical server sync issues. And remember, the person you're playing is getting the same feeling as well. So when you're thinking, oh, how's that come at the end? They're seeing that for you as well. There's going to be plenty of situations where you score in the last kick of the game. They think they've won, and then they find out they've drawn, or they think they've drawn and they find out they've lost. It's happening to both of you, both parties. It's not only happening to you, and it's worth remembering that. It can be frustrating seeing it, thinking you've won and you haven't. But just remember, it's happening to both of you. It's server syncing issues. EA are trying to fix the server syncing so that you do find out straight away. But for now, just worth remembering, you're not being cheated at or anything. It is graphical. Like I said, there are a few situations where it is reporting the incorrect scores at the top, and that is server delay, where you scored too late and then the connection wasn't great, so they weren't able to send your score over to the server. But yeah, that's going to be fixed. But for the most part, from most of the examples, for 90% of the examples I get sent, it's purely graphical, where the score has come in, and then rather than make you wait for the full data to be downloaded, they've just shown you what they've got there. If it shows all zeros, they've disconnected, and that's how that one is. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Just wanted to clear it all up. Today's comment of the day goes to M Titan 10. It's so hot in my country, but even when I'm literally bored in house, I'm still watching your videos. Cheers, dude. But remember, my videos are up all the time. They don't go anywhere. You can watch them any time of the day. Go enjoy the weather while it's nice, and watch my videos when it's a bit cold at night. Thanks for the support, though. Do leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new here. Come follow me on Twitter at joebilinehd, and I'll see you all later. Peace.